Okay, so quite honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I initially unboxed the regular S22. Having used the S22 Ultra, I figured the S22 would be a subpar device that wouldn't live up to my expectations. But as soon as that top cover came off the box, I was sold. I don't understand why you're thinking of. You've had me at alone. My name is RJ and these are my thoughts on the S22. This year, although it may not look like it, Samsung did the S22 different. There are plenty of subtle changes to this device that can only be experienced, well, while using the device. This year, the S22 is a little bit smaller, a bit more boxier, and a whole lot more compact. It is such a pleasure to daily drive this phone thanks to the extremely comfortable form factor. Although it's got a 6.1-inch panel, this phone is easy to operate with one hand, the volume rockers and the power button are easily accessible, and I haven't had any issues reaching either end of the display. This phone just sits so well in the palm of my hands and is such a pleasure to use. The S22 feels so light and premium in the hands. It reminds me so much of my daily driver of choice, the iPhone 13 mini, primarily due to its easy to use one-handed form factor, and I haven't been able to find an Android flagship that comes close to everything the iPhone 13 mini offers until now. I can't even hide it. I really do love the S22. Just take a look at the flat sides, the tiny uniform bezels, and the display that extends from one corner to the other. Design-wise, this device is flawless. But that's not to say the S22 doesn't have any flaws. In fact, it does have one major flaw that prevents me from being able to daily drive this thing, which we will talk about a bit later in the video. Initially, I was feeling a bit brave and I wanted to daily drive this phone without a case. But this year, instead of using plastic, Samsung opted to go with glass on the back. It does feel a lot more premium, but it is slippery as hell. So definitely do go with the case or at least a D-brand skin. If you guys want some good cases that I do recommend, I will leave some links in the description below. Display wise, we have a 1080p 120Hz AMOLED panel that can go up to a peak brightness of 1300 nits. More than good enough to use in outdoor sunny conditions. I haven't experienced any visibility issues under direct sunlight. So no complaints on that front. However, this is not an LTPO2 panel like what was found on the S22 Ultra. On the Ultra, the display can refresh from 120Hz all the way down to 1Hz. Instead, on the S22, we have an LTPS display. This means that the refresh rate on the S22 can go from 120Hz down to 48Hz, depending on what you're doing on your display. This is quite unfortunate really, since the S22 has a 300 mAh less battery than what was found on the S21. So it would have been nice to benefit from that potential increase in display efficiency, however minor that may be. With that being said though, Samsung is still the king of displays, and year after year they keep improving their displays a tad bit. This is a great responsive panel, and consuming media on this thing feels like such an immersive experience thanks to the 87.4% screen to body ratio. No matter what it is that I'm watching, I find myself totally consumed by this pretty much bezel-less viewing experience. Before we do continue, if you guys are enjoying the content thus far, then make sure to click on that like button. It only takes you a fraction of a second to do so, but that fraction of a second goes a long way in helping my channel out. Also, while you're at it, if you guys do want to see more content on the S22, including an upcoming video comparing the S22 alongside the Pixel 6, then do stick around to the channel by subscribing. Biometrics wise, we have an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner that never once has missed the timing. Registering a fingerprint is an easy process that only takes about 30 seconds. I love how the fingerprint scanner shows up on the always on display. Instead of tapping on the display to wake it, you can just scan your fingerprint from the lock screen and get right in. If you asked me about 3 years ago how I feel about Samsung's OS OneUI, I would have flat out said I'm not a big fan whatsoever. I wasn't a fan of the cartoonish looks, and the overall experience was a laggy mess that did completely turn me away from Samsung altogether. However, in the past year and a half or so, I've grown very fond of OneUI. On the software front, using the S22 is a smooth sailing experience. No matter what I do on this device, it doesn't lag or jitter. It very much feels like iOS, and that is a very good thing. Samsung has come a long way in such a short time span on the software front. I switch back and forth between iOS and Android all the time, and this is the first time in quite a while I've been able to switch over to Android and feel like I'm not missing a beat. And that, my friends, is very high praise. This year, the S22 is equipped with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset along with 8GB of RAM. Storage-wise, you only get two options, either 128GB or 256GB. That's it. Performance-wise, as I mentioned earlier, is stellar. Daily interactions with this phone is fluid, and typing on this device is such a pleasurable experience. This year, Samsung did something very interesting with the vibration patterns. The vibration motor is still very good and strong. However, they did switch switched from a Z-axis vibration motor to an X-axis vibration motor. This means whenever this phone vibrates, it does pulse in an X-axis direction. While you're using the phone in your hands, you're not going to notice a difference in haptics. But say for example, you're driving and your phone is buzzing right in front of you. You won't be able to hear it and you will miss phone calls and notifications. It is a bit of a concern, and I have missed plenty of phone calls in my short time span with this device. If you do a lot of mobile gaming, let it be known that you will lose a good chunk of your battery, and this phone does run hot. If I play a graphic intense game for around 30 minutes, I will lose at least 12% of my battery, and that's on a Wi-Fi network. There also seems to be a major issue this year with the standby times. This phone has a 4nm processor node that's supposed to improve battery standby efficiency, but it's done the complete opposite, at least in my experience. On a given night, if I don't charge my phone, the S22 has been losing at least 12% battery life on standby. This is with 5G and Wi-Fi turned off, so I have no notifications coming in, nothing being downloaded in the background, just an idle phone. I haven't experienced this on any other Android device, and it is concerning. If you own an S22, let me know down in the comments below how much battery drain you're experiencing overnight. Continuing on the topic of the battery life seems to have improved a tad bit overall after the latest Samsung OneUI update. It's still not enough to get me through an entire days of usage without having to experience battery anxiety. And if you never experienced battery anxiety before, it is a real thing. By the time my day's over, so around 7 PM or so, this phone is already dead, or really close to dying, like around 5% left. I do find myself charging the S22 multiple times a day, and if you don't have access to a charger all the time, then stay away from the S22. This phone is not for you. It's a terrific phone overall, with the one caveat being battery life. I mean, I'm getting worse battery life on this phone than I'm getting on the iPhone 13 mini. At least on the iPhone 13 mini, it's enough to get me through a full days of usage, at least 6 to 6.5 hours of screen on time. On the S22, I've been getting around 5 hours of screen on time. That's up around 30 minutes since the latest update. So it does seem like Samsung is aware of battery issues and they're doing whatever they can to optimize the battery. But I'm not so sure giving the S22 a smaller 3700 mAh battery was the right move. The battery capacity this year is around 8% smaller than last year, and I feel like that 8% that we lost would have made somewhat of a positive impact on the S22. On the camera front, we have a solid versatile camera system featuring a 50 megapixel main lens, a 10 megapixel ultra wide with a 108-degree field of view, and a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto. I haven't experienced any autofocus issues, and the shutter lag has been minimal. There is a nice balance of colors in these shots, the contrast levels is where I like it to be at, and Samsung's overall processing has gotten much quicker. I took some shots in low lighting conditions using what Samsung likes to call lithography, and these images, much like what I experienced on the S22 Ultra, is somewhat overexposed. It doesn't even look like these pictures were taken in low light conditions. These lithography pictures look like they were taken during the day, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my night shots to look like they were taken during the day. I don't know, that could just be my own preference, but let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll go into a lot more detail on the cameras in my full review, which will be dropping in exactly 1 week from today. Overall, if you can get by with subpar battery life, then this is the Android to get for $799. There are so many things I appreciate about the S22. I can't emphasize how much I love the light and premium feel of this phone. I bought this in the pink colorway, and I can't lie, this color has been growing on me. I got tired of buying black phones over and over again. Sometimes you just need a little bit of color in your day. Make sure to stick around for my Pixel 6 versus S22 comparison video. It'll be a detailed look on which phone you should consider in 2022. If you made it till the end of this video, comment with the peach emoji in the comments. I want to know exactly who you guys are. As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to flex with your tech.